What's up, people? What's up? We're about to do another coding challenge tonight. I think we're going live everywhere. I'm just gonna give a few more seconds for everything to get set up and everybody to jump on that wants to. But yeah, we're about to do another coding challenge tonight. Hopefully, an easy one. But I'm gonna go in a little more depth on the easy problem. It's from Leetcode, called Remove Vowels from a String. And so I hope y'all enjoy it, or hope it's helpful, hope it's educational for people to see me do this problem in real time. And yeah, just work through it with me. So without further ado, I think I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the problem. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. So this is a problem from Leetcode.com called Remove Vowels from a String. And the problem goes as such. Given a string S, remove the vowels A, E, I, O, and U from it and return the new string. And in this first example here, they have a string, random string. Leetcode is community for coders. And then the output is a string without E, without A, basically without A, E, I, O, U. And then the second example, every character in the string is A, E, I, or U. So then you return an empty string because you removed all the vowels out of the string, or all the vowels it wanted you to. Because I guess Y is sometimes a vowel or whatever. So, and I just spit all over the thing right there. I'm tripping. But anyway, the string length is between 1 and 1,000 characters, and then S consists of only lowercase English letters, which these are pretty important constraints because that means there's no like weird exclamation marks and other weird characters in the string anywhere. So that's a good thing. And that's something in the interview that you need to keep track of. So anyway, or anytime you work on a problem like this. So anyway, let's jump into it. So if you ever watched me do this before, how I like to go through these problems is I like to think of the solution in my head, maybe do it on paper, maybe not, but at least go through it in my head of like how I would solve it in my mind. And then I try to take that solution and apply it to code using data structures and algorithms that I'm familiar with from my experience. So looking at this problem, I mean, it seems pretty simple when you first learn how to program. This is kind of some of the stuff that you learn how to do, but you also want to keep in mind the code you write, even if the problem's really simple, and the optimizations, the big old complexity, and how fast your code runs, how optimal it runs as well. You want to keep all that in mind. So I think I'm going to go through a couple different solutions, and then we're maybe going to talk about those different solutions and what's good, what's bad. I actually really don't know which solution is the fastest, so maybe we can go through that together and just learn as we go. So anyway, the first thing I said is I'm going to just talk through how would I solve this problem if I just had to think through it without code. And I mean, simple. I would literally go through every single letter, and when I get to a letter, I would check if it's either A, E, I, O, or U, and I would remove it. And as I would go through this, I would probably build a new string that doesn't include anything that's A, E, I, O, or U. So I would just loop through or check each item in the list one by one in order, and then I would make a new string that contains a new string without the vowels in it. So that's how I would do it in my mind. There's a number of ways I could do that with code, but what is the most optimal way to do it? There's probably a more optimal way to do it. But I'm going to go through a couple solutions and see where we kind of land out on what I think is the best solution. Then we can test it against Leetcode's code runner and like see where it stands within all the other solutions on Leetcode. So since I'm going to do multiple problems, I'm going to probably make, I don't know. I'm probably going to make different functions that I can just throw in here on the side. But anyway, anybody that's just joining, I have the problem statement up here. Given a string S, I need to remove the vowels A, E, I, O, and U from it. Appreciate people joining. Appreciate the comments and everything. Yes, I'm still on the easy problems. But yeah, hopefully people are still learning and everything. And yeah. So what's the first thing I want to try? So the easiest thing that comes to mind without thinking about like code complexity or like what would be the most optimal way to do it as far as time complexity or space complexity is to use the replace function in JavaScript and use some regex to filter out basically anything that isn't a vowel. So what I can do is just simply say return s, and I can use replace function in JavaScript. And the first thing that you put in here is the regex string, and I'm not gonna I O U, this U, and I think it's that, and I think it's G. I think that's I think this will basically say A or E or I or O or U, and basically would replace whatever I find in the string, and I will replace that with an empty string. So it would effectively erase it from my original string. And so I'm not gonna go over how regex works. Regex is very difficult. That'd be a whole video on its own as far as how to learn how to do more complex regex. But this is pretty simple regex. It simply says whenever I find either of these characters, then I'm gonna replace it here. So let's run that. And we get 52 milliseconds. It passes both cases pretty easily. Both the cases it passed are over here. And so, yeah, simply use the built-in function for JavaScript. So, like, the thing about this as far as big old complexity, though, is that this, even though you're using this function here, this function has a runtime complexity of its own behind the scenes. I don't know what it is for this, but my assumption it's probably, I'm thinking it's probably gotta be, I'm thinking it's big O of N because this is a fixed length, but I'm actually not sure. So if anybody in the comments knows what this runtime complexity is of this replace function. So like if you're in an interview setting or you're using this at work or whatever, just because you use this doesn't mean you're just like good to go. Like you need to know what the runtime complexity of this underlying, because somebody programmed this function in JavaScript to use, and it does stuff behind the scenes, and you need to know what the actual complexity is behind it. So that's important to know. It probably uses binary search. Somebody said, yeah, M times N. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is what it is. Agent Angler, appreciate it. I thought you might know. Yeah, because I think it's because there's this fixed list here, and if we call this M, and then we call the length of the string S N, then it will be M times N. So I think that is right. I think that is what it is. So that would be like the first solution. Let me see what it does against all the Leetcode answers. And they got all this new crap in here. So it only beat 6% of the other answers across Leetcode in time complexity, and 18% in space or memory or space complexity. So I mean, whether that's good or not is, that's kind of up in the air to your opinion or whatever. Whether you really want to beat other Leetcoders or not, but it really matters of like what you're actually trying to do with the code to whether that's good enough or not. I'm gonna see if I can. I mean, it got 110 milliseconds. I'm gonna see if I can try to do better than that, but we'll see. So I'm gonna like make a whole new function down here, and I'm gonna just change the name of this one to like 1, so that it doesn't call it again. And I don't want to confuse people with this, but yeah, I'm just gonna maybe I just comment it out actually, so I don't confuse people. People might get confused and if they come to the video late and they're like, what is that you had at the top there? And so I'm gonna put this up here then. So this is my old solution. My voice cracking. All right, so what's the next thing that I would think of? So like, let's say I'm in an interview and then they ask me, they say, hey, that's cool, you did the replace function down here, but we want you to do it. We want you to do it with no built-in functions. We don't want you to use any built-in functions at all. Or just say I'm in a real work scenario and I can't use built-in functions for whatever reason, because we don't know what the time complexity is. Sometimes a built-in function could have a bug in it that could screw you up. You know, you just never know. Or, well, it's the wrong term. Not never know, but sometimes you have reasons that you just can't, that you need to write the logic on your own. So the next thing I would think to do would simply be to create, I would basically create a new array of the vowels, A-E. Maybe I can use this here actually. Save myself a little bit of time. A, E, I, O, and U. So I would create an array of that. And I would just do a simple for loop where I would say, I would basically loop through the length of the string. And I would, I don't even think I need an iterator here. But I would also create like a result string that would be like my answer, or more or less output. I would eventually return that. But basically right here, I would use if vowels includes si, so that's the string s at where I'm at in the loop iterator, which is I would say if it doesn't include it, then I want to add it to my output string. And again, this is a built-in function here. So, and I think I did say earlier you can't use any built-in functions, but I mean, I could not use this, but then I literally have to like check each of these like separately. So I'm gonna like amend my earlier thing, but let's say they told you couldn't use replace because it's like a little bit too simple. So gonna add, then I would add this here, and this basically would give me the solution. So I basically created an array of vowels, create a new output, and I just loop through my original string s, and I check. This is kind of close to the solution that I talked about before in my head. If it's not, if the character I'm on right now as I'm looping through my string s, if it doesn't include, if vowels array doesn't include it, meaning it's not a vowel, then add it to the output because I want everything that's not a vowel. So let's run that and try it out. Let's see. Yep, that's right. 66 milliseconds. That seems kind of fast. Okay, I run it again. I get 93. Somebody said turn it to a string that saves time. Strings are immutable, so when you do, plus you're creating a new string. Strings are immutable. Are you talking about a different programming language? This is JavaScript. Strings, JavaScript's immutability is controlled by the keyword. But yeah, so I'm not sure what some of those comments were, but I get some of them. But anyway, I'm gonna run this against Leetcode. So yeah, it's about exactly the same as the regex, almost. It's according to, it's not the runtime complexity, but at least it's well, no, it was, yeah, it's about the same milliseconds of speed. The other one was like 110, and then it beats 6% like the other one is. So it's really close to my previous solution. So the new solution was to loop through and do an includes check. The last one was to do regex. So regex behind the scenes, like regex takes time to run, period, and then the replace function had its own time to run. So my guess is that very similar runtime complexity to what it takes to do here. That the work that it takes to do here. And so here I know I'm looping through each letter, so that's big O of N already. And then I check vowels, which probably checks each of these vowels against the input here. So that means it's probably M times N again in time complexity. So it's probably exactly the same time complexity as my previous solution. So this is pretty interesting. I'm glad I did it like this. Match and regex instead of replace, since it's faster. Oh yeah, match. Yeah, match might be faster. Yeah, I'm not sure if it is, but I would love to try that out. I don't know if I'm gonna try that out here, but that it may be faster. But no, because if I use match, then I still need to build a whole nother string to return. So yeah, match might be faster, but then I still have to build another string. The thing with replace is it gives me my string without the characters in it. So I need to return, like replace here, I need to return a string without the characters. And if I do match, I don't think it gives me the string back. So I'd still have to do more operations to get a string without the values in it. So I don't know if that's better. I think it's going to be about the same. But yeah, I could be wrong. So let me know. So anyway, I want to try one more solution and I'm probably going to let it go. And I'm sorry if I'm not getting to the comments. That's the drawback to doing coding and videos. Like it's hard to like sit in here and try to read all the comments and work at the same time. So anyway, the last thing I'm going to try is what am I going to try? Oh yeah, I'm going to try using some more storage to see if I can make the solution faster or at least do it in a different way. So instead of like putting my vowels in an array, I'm actually gonna make a vowel, and this probably could just be const. This probably could have been const down here too as well, but I just screwed that up. But vowels, and I could create I'll try a map. I'm gonna create it the ugly way, but should be all right. Is it add or set? I always forget. Yeah, so I'm just gonna, this doesn't matter what I set it to really. So I'm just gonna, I know it's a better way to probably initialize a map, but I'm just gonna do it the ugly way for now. I don't want to go through all that because then I have to like think about the complexity of all these different ways of initializing the map. So A, E, I, O, and U. So now from this point I have a map with, and I could just use an object, but let's try with a map and then I'm gonna switch it to an object and see what happens too. But this is a map with a map is a data structure that has keys and values, key pair values. And the advantage of using a map is that when I need to look up A, E, I, O, U in this map, is big O of 1 complexity. It's constant time. It's a very quick lookup. It's an instant lookup. Versus if I'm looking for the item in an array, I literally have to look at every item until I find it. But with a map, as soon as I say, hey, where's A, where's I can instantly find it here and grab this true value out. But I don't even need the true value. I need to instantly know if the key exists in this map, because that's my vowels map. And so here I could probably do a number of things here. I probably could do like a filter here maybe. Probably can do like but no, because then I'd have to turn the string into an array. And it probably doesn't matter, like, because it's all gonna be the same complexity. So there's so many ways you could do this problem, but I do feel like that's a lot of times when you do Leetcode problems and stuff, you find that you could do them in different ways. And then some are better than other ways. And then you'll find even in that better way that there's like 3 or 4 ways to do it that all lead to the same complexity, because it's only like one way to do it, you know, fast. And so you end up doing it different ways, but it ends up being the same. So, but what I'm doing here is basically I'm going to say, I'm going to look for inside the map. Oh no, I actually need to do has. So does the map have or has this item, this character of the string? I'm looping through the string again. I is my iterator. S is the string. So I get the character out of the string S at I, at whatever iterator I'm on or iteration I'm on. And then I check if vowels does not have it in there. If so, I add it to my output, which I didn't even make an output. And then I need to return the output here. And so, yeah, so this is what I get with this. Somebody said AI already did this with a full explanation in 1 second. Yeah, man, that's not what I'm doing this for. I mean, yeah, you can use AI on a job or something, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't rely on it too much right now. You know, you gotta know how to do this yourself if you're interviewing, especially. And then even if you're not interviewing, like the AI is not always going to give you, maybe for something as simple as this, yeah, it'll maybe give you the right answer, but sometimes it's not going to give you the exact answer you need. It's going to give you something close. It's going to aid you very well, especially ChatGPT. It's very good, but it's not perfect. Yeah, it's just, yeah, literally, it's kind of like Google. It's kind of like giving you Google results, giving you like a very good Google result, but you still have to tweak it sometimes, you know, depending on the solution. But something simple like this, yeah, it probably gives you the answer back. But once they get more complicated, it can, you know, not be as I wouldn't just trust it 100% is what I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way. So anyway, let's run this, see if I get the right answer. Got the right answer, 54 milliseconds. Uh-oh, this one's kind of fast. Oh no, it went up to 80. But it's still faster than the ones before. Oops, I tried to run it too soon. I'm excited about this one. Let me run it against Leetcode. So anybody that was hating in the comments, this one beat 60%. Now remember the other solutions were only beat 6%. And other solutions ran at over 100 milliseconds. This one runs at like 70. And it's about the same on memory because I use more. I expect that because I use more memory this time actually, so it's a little bit better. Well, that's when you do these solutions. Like a lot of times you'll find that you'll be able to trade memory for time complexity. So you have memory complexity or space complexity they call it, and you have time complexity. What you can do is use these data structures like I did. I used the map. And that because I could look this A-E-I-O-U up so quickly, when I did this command here, it was big O of 1. It was like almost instant to look that up. So but on these other solutions, I'm using like includes, and then here I'm using like replace, and then it has to check this regex, which is expensive, and then this is expensive, includes is expensive. I'm already looping through here. But for this solution, only thing I'm doing is building this map, which is going to use some space, but it's only going to use a big O of M space. If we call A-E-I-O-U the number of vowels, we call that M, and we call the number of characters in this string S-N, then our space would be M because we only have M number of vowels. And then our length of the string is N. And so really all I did here was just this big O of N. I just looped through N times. This was constant because it's, like I said, it's an instant lookup. And so all I did was just big O of N here in this solution. So, yeah, it's more efficient than the other solutions, which I did not notice before I made this video. So I did not plan this out. based on my history, my knowledge of doing these problems and doing problems a lot harder than this one, I just assumed that using the space because of the power of maps, you're going like this is a building block for problems that are tougher later on, that you're going to learn that like if you're new to this, that you're going to learn that like using data structures like this can be a powerful way to increase the or decrease the time complexity. So somebody asked, I think it was Agent Angler. That's a great question. If an object is just as efficient. So let's see. That's a great question because I asked that to myself earlier. So instead of a map, what you can do here, Agent Angler, appreciate the comments. He's been on a couple ones before. If it's a he or she, whoever it is, definitely smart person because that has some good comments here. But just asking if I used a object, if it would be the same. So I know I looked this up one time. Maps versus using just a object in JavaScript. It's pretty close. There are some differences and some times when you want to use one over the other, but it's not as important as it is in other languages to like pick which one to use. So a lot of times, a lot of problems you have, they'll be like interchangeable. And I don't know what I messed up on. I think I didn't put an inner sign here or something. Yeah. So let's see, man, because that's a good question. I think this is, I think this should be, all right. Uh-oh, I screwed. Oh, yeah, sorry, I can't do that. I have to do, I didn't read my code. I usually don't do this. I usually, like, trace through my code. That's one thing I want to say. It's like you're in an interview scenario. You wouldn't just run it. Sometimes you're not even allowed to run it. Like, you would actually probably trace through this code line by hand and maybe put some comments to keep track of the variables and just, like, line by line, figure out what the how the program runs without running it before you do it. But I'm not doing that for this problem because it's kind of so simple that I just didn't want to waste the time doing it. And I had like 3 solutions I needed to go through, so it was just gonna be a waste of time to go do that for every solution. This one looks like it's running. It looks like it runs worse to me, but let's see. No, it runs a little bit worse than the map, actually, but it runs, what is this, like 10 times better than the other solutions do still. So it's pretty close because the other one was 60% and it ran at 70 milliseconds. Oh, but yeah, it uses a lot less memory though. So, the map, it's because the map, when you set up a map, it puts all these, it has like overhead. Map has functions in it. Map is doing different things. It probably sets up some sort of internal structures to help it work faster or optimize itself. But yeah, it has overhead. So yeah, it takes more space, takes more memory. So yeah, I'm glad I did try that out. Thank you for the comment as well. And somebody said, so I think I'm pretty much done with this problem. I probably just answered some questions for a little while. But yeah, I hope this was helpful to people. Like I said, the time complexity it is big O of N. This is a pretty good Leetcode. I mean, as long as you get over like 50%, you probably did pretty well. Not that you really have to. Really what you want to do is just get a good time, because once people know the solution, it's going to be hard to like find some new solution that just beats out everybody. But if you get over 50%, you're doing pretty good. Like you're on par. And if you can get to like 80, 90, then yeah, you found something that not a lot of people found. But anyway, somebody asked like AI is going to take the jobs of like doing problems like this. So AI, as far as it is so far, like ChatGPT is I can see how it's scary. It's very powerful. It's one of the best tools. I'm using it all the time now. I'm using it at work. I'm using it on my side, for my side business. I'm using it for my content. I like tell it to write me social media captions and stuff. And then I tell it to tweak it. And it's really smart because it can like if it writes it wrong, I'm like, nah, you should Take out the part about blah, blah, blah and write it again and it'll do it. Or make it longer or make it shorter. And so even with the code, like I think if you have a code solution and you tell it like it gives you something out and you're like, hey, I want you to make it more optimal. I want to make it faster. It might figure out how to do it. I mean, or it might be able to search and figure out how to do it. But will it take the jobs? No, it won't. It won't take programmers' job. I think it will be a tool that will aid programmers, and I think that it potentially could take some jobs eventually, but there's always going to be programmers that need to train AI. AI is never contextual. And so once you become a developer, you'll learn that these companies will have legacy code bases. They'll have problems that are very specific to them. They'll have standards that you need to write by that are specific to them. And so AI it's not able to know those things. It's not able to know, oh, here on this team at this company, we put a space after every line of code. Or here at this company, we because we're in the financial space and because we're PayPal, we put a P in front of all our payment transaction names or something. I don't know. It could be something weird like that. So yeah, it can eventually get smart enough, but it's always going to need somebody to train it. And it's going to be a long time till it gets to the point where like the AI is just like companies are just going to trust the AI just to simply just write all the code that they have and just completely get rid of the jobs. Now, yeah, you might have a person that's just literally watching the AI, they're spitting it out and they're just putting it somewhere and just putting the pieces together. But if you think about it in the long term, when you talk to devs that worked in the 80s, when you talk to devs that work in the 90s, you talk to devs that work in the 2000s, and I know I'm like rambling here, but they would say the same thing about how we work now. They're like, man, y'all got everything so easy. It was devs that's writing code in assembly language. And so they would look at me writing code in JavaScript like I'm a baby. Like, dude, like you got everything so easy. You got loops. You don't have to write go-to statements. You don't have to do garbage collection. Like they look at me like I'm just, I don't know what I'm doing almost. And so this thing is gonna keep advancing, but there's always gonna need to be human interaction, at least for the foreseeable future of our lifetime, I feel like. But that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, so a lot of people are AI forward. So right, like AI can't tell project managers this is gonna roll over. AI can't tell how risky it is. AI can't detect bugs in an existing code base and fix them. It just, not right now, it can't. And then even if it does fix it, that doesn't mean it's fixing it the right way. There's choices and trade-offs you have to make when you fix bugs. Sometimes the best solution isn't the best solution because of some third-party thing. It's more complicated. Software development is more complicated than that. And that's what this is. The AI is writing code. The AI is spitting out code. Somebody had a good comment about project managers. The AI is spitting out code. It's not spitting out software development. Software development is more complicated than just writing code. It's politics in it even. Like there's, it's just a lot more stuff to it. So I know I went off on a long tangent there and I'm like stretching this live out, but I don't know. I think it's still pretty cool. I'm probably gonna repost this and cut this part off the live, but yeah, I'm glad y'all asked about it for sure. GitHub Copilot's out. That hadn't started taking anybody's jobs yet, so and that literally writes the code with you while you're writing it, and it's just not gonna ever come to the point where it's just like taking your job. It's a tool to aid you, and that's what I'm using. I'm embracing it, man. I'm not scared of it. I'm like, make my job easy. Like we have to do stuff at work that's not coding that I don't want to do, like writing documentation and writing reviews for people and papers, and I use it to help me. Like I'm like, okay, I know that this is what I want to say. Can you just write this boilerplate fluff text for me? And it does it. It does an amazing job, stuff like that, and then I can tweak it and make it my own voice to what I want, And so as long as you're not doing like plagiarism or something like that, where it matters, but. As devs, when we write documentation, we literally copy and pasting stuff from everywhere anyway. So, but anyway, yeah, we should collaborate sometime. Appreciate it, Asian Angler, man. Appreciate you always giving your 2 cents. Like I could tell you're really in tune with this stuff based on the comments and everything. And appreciate the feedback too, and like helping me try out some different stuff, because it definitely made a difference. But yeah, so somebody said until they decide to roll out their own version of Chat GPT. Yeah, 2 for 8 now until they decide to roll out their own version of Chat GPT. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it can get really good. Like, it surprised me. It's really good. It is really good. And I can see it getting like even better very quickly. Next, 5 years, 10 years. But I don't know, man. I see it as more of a reason for you to get into development than not. I mean, if it's going to get that good, then why wouldn't you need to be behind it? Now, I don't think it will take the jobs away. If anything, let's say it got so smart that it literally, you could just hire it as just write code as a dev or whatever. You could feed it stuff. Even if it did, our jobs don't go away. Our jobs just change. They're just different. But that's going to happen anyway. The jobs aren't the same as they were 5 years ago. I was in the industry 5 years ago. The job isn't the same as it was 10 years ago. I started in the industry 10 years ago. And when I talk to older devs from the 90s and 80s, it's involved for them just as it will evolve for us. And you need to just be on it. Like, that's one of some people call it a drawback. I call it the advantage, but you got to keep learning. You got to keep moving. So embrace this stuff. And if you're scared of it, don't let it be a fear that disables you from doing and learning about it. Like, don't let it scare you away from it and you don't learn about it. Because that's when you really do lose. Because now you're like, you don't know anything about it. You're trying to like stay old school, and yeah, you do get kicked out. So I guess it could be scary for people that are kind of like gonna be like stuck in a way. But yeah, I think I rambled long enough about that. But yeah, it's a hot topic right now. I probably should have made a whole another live just to talk about that. But yeah, maybe I'll do, I don't know. I've been thinking about doing a podcast or something where I can start talking about this stuff and having guests on. And so maybe Asian Angler, maybe that's what we'll do. I don't know if you're comfortable with something like that, but yeah, we could do like a podcast thing or something, even if it's just voice, and talk about some topics and stuff. But yeah, I appreciate y'all jumping on here. I appreciate you asking the questions, because it's exciting stuff to me. I'm a technical dude though. So, and yeah, so hope y'all enjoyed this. Like, I'm going to do more problems. I'm going to start moving on to some mediums. And will I ever get to some hard problems on here? I don't know, because they take too long to do. Maybe if the attention is there on the videos, maybe I'll do some hard problems from Leet. And I'm talking about Leetcode has medium, easy, and hard problems. And so, the easy problems take me a long time to do, because I'm trying to help people learn, and I'm trying to explain my thoughts, because this helps me too in my work. And the mediums take at least an hour if you're explaining everything. And then the hards, take, I think I did do a hard. I did one hard, which I felt like was a medium in my mind, but it was a hard on Leetcode. And it took me like over an hour or something to do. And I didn't do all this talking. I did the problem straight through. But in an interview, when I've had to do interviews with a hard problem, it takes the whole time. You get an hour, and they talk to you they take probably 10 or 15 of that. So you really only have 45 minutes. You literally have to go straight through the problem to get done. And yeah, they're rarely asked in interviews, but it depends on how big the company is and what role you're going for. So I'm like at a senior level. And if I go for like a company like Airbnb, for instance, they're gonna ask like 2 hards. And I'm saying this because I know for sure that they're gonna ask like 2 hards. And so yeah, so just avoid those companies if you don't want any like those big huge tech companies, because they probably will. So somebody said they just did one. Did they ask you a hard, or were you in a? It depends on what level you were at too. Just depends. Well, dang, that's good. Say received 10 major companies at staff level engineer, only been asked one. Dude, man, that's crazy. That's good. Well, maybe I'm just unlucky, man. I'm just unlucky. Cause I had to, it was a medium that I've done before. Yeah, maybe I just got unlucky, man. I don't know. Yeah, I got a lot more system design, but shoot, I still got two hards. Like I don't know why. I had like it was like 6 interviews, so they had enough time to ask me two hards and do system design and do behavioral and they still did all the other stuff, but it didn't matter. They had enough time, so maybe it's just a couple companies that I've interviewed with, but. And I heard that Google, I never interviewed with Google, but I heard they definitely ask hards. But anyway, if you do a couple hards and they're not asking hards in the industry, I'm okay to concede to that. Cause I would love that if that's the case, if they're not asking hards, because hards are stupid, because you don't have enough time to do them. Like you can't even think. Like you literally just have to know the problem and go straight through it. It can't be no time about you just like, oh, what do I do here? Like, no, you got to know what you're doing and be coding all the way through to finish it on time, because it takes a long time to do the problems. Like these problems that I've been doing on here are like tiny intro parts to the hard problems. It's like built, I don't know. It's just crazy. And yeah, man, I actually did pretty good. Like, I think, shoot, one of them I didn't finish, and then the other one I finished pretty clearly. But it kind of helped me learn that I was like, okay, I can't just. I was trying to like act. I was kind of like trying to pretend like I didn't know the problem. I don't know why I did that, because I guess I felt in my mind like if he thinks I know the problem, he might ask me another one. He's like, oh, you already know this one. He might try to ask me another one. I don't know why I thought that. So I started like trying to go slow and try to like over explain, like, oh, I guess I'll do this, and do you think I should do this? And oh, you think I should do that? And I don't know why I should have just went straight through. And so I don't know, man. But anyway, and I didn't pass every interview. Some of them I failed. I think that's the sometimes people don't share that, but I don't care. I mean, I passed some FANG, like the top tier company interviews, and I failed some before. So it's literally about equal. And so some of the reasons I failed were stupid, and some of them were pretty obvious. But, I also passed a lot of them too and got a bunch of offers too. So some companies I never thought I'd be able to get into. Am I there? No. I just decided not to go for other reasons. But because it's not all about that. Trying to, it depends on what your goals are and what your financial and what your, career goals are. So I'm happy where I'm at right now. Especially if anybody from work is on here listening. I'm very happy where I'm at right now. So yeah, somebody said I failed 4 and 5 interviews in a row before passing Google and Airbnb. See, that makes sense. See, what most people gonna say, I just passed, Airbnb and Google, and I never failed anything. Like, that's just not true, man. Like, sometimes you get on the roll, I can see, especially if you're like older in the industry, you might have one interview round or one interview stint where you do pass all of them. You're just in a flow state or something. But like, to say that you just never had a failure or to insinuate that you haven't, like, it's just not true. Like, it just happens. But sometimes, yeah, you get in the flow state and you just roll through. But yeah, it just depends. And sometimes, man, some interview processes are just stupid, and it hurts. It hurts you still. It like knocks you down the wrong. But some of them are just like, there was just no way. Like, it just wasn't aligned in stars, and some of the stuff they ask is just dumb. And it's just like, you just have to take it with a grain of salt or whatever. That's probably not the right expression, but you just got to take it, eat the loss, and just move on. But yeah. But I mean, there's so many companies to interview for. There's like this website where you can go if you don't like Leetcode and stuff. You can just go find some pretty nice companies, some big ones. Like Stripe doesn't do Leetcode, and they're a pretty good company. I feel Amazon twice for getting an offer. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, everybody fails some and wins some, but those wins, man, when you failed and those wins come, they hit hard, man. You just feel like you're on the top of the world. You get that offer, and You do what you do. You either go or you stay, or you know. And that's the thing when you get in industry. You know, sometimes getting an offer ain't about leaving. Sometimes it's about staying. And some of y'all might know what I mean, but yeah. So yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, hiring without white boys, without whiteboards. Yeah, on GitHub. That's what I used before too. So, yeah, we all been there, man. So, that's what makes the win so good, and that's how I know, you know, that's what makes you like, really, like when you do win and you do get on that string where you're just killing them. It's because in the past you've learned what the pitfalls are. You've learned a different type of problems they could ask, and you just get into you're just in this state, man, where you're just killing it. So, yeah, I know. Someone said white boys. I mean, I said white boys. I meant to say white boards, man. I don't know why I said that. I just malfunction, man. I'm computer mind. I just glitch sometimes, and you know, that's how it goes. But yeah, and there's a lot of luck too, man. Somebody just said that. Yeah, there is some luck. It's preparation meets some luck, because sometimes you get on those things and it's just like, dang, I just studied this. Like, I just looked at this. Or they just ask you every problem you already knew. Or they just ask you something that you didn't know, but it's like it was all the skills that you tackled in other problems or other things. So it just, I don't know, man. It just works out. It can work out so well sometimes. But yeah, I think I'm gonna jump off of here. Like, I've been on here so long, just talking at this point. Probably longer talking than I did the actual coding challenge, because it was supposed to be an easy one anyway. So I'll probably chip that out, make a video, and repost it to my channel for anybody that wants to go back and see how it worked out. I think it worked well. Yeah. So appreciate it, y'all. Thanks for joining, and I will see y'all in the next video. Follow me on all the different channels. I stream on TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, and shoot. Yeah, thanks for people on Twitch. I see the comments there. I appreciate it for y'all joining. And yeah, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok. So I'm streaming everywhere. If you want to watch me on different places or follow me different places, I post funny content, all that crap. Follow me, and I will follow you back if I can find you. DM me, have a conversation, and I'll definitely follow you back if I actually, you know, see it and everything. So appreciate it. See y'all later.